My dear students, today we are going to study the third chapter of second year intermediate economics. The name of the chapter is National Income. Now coming to the part of introduction. What is the importance of national income? Why we calculate the national income? Is there any need for the calculation of measurement of national income? These are the questions to be answered first. Yes, national income and the increase in national income, raising the national income is the goal of every national economy, every nation's economy. The goal of every nation is to raise the national income so that the standard of life of the people in the country may increase. It is one of the indicators of the welfare of the people living in the country, in the economy. So, it is a must. National income is the measurement of the welfare of the people living in the country. Next, economic welfare can be best measured by national income. The world countries are compared by their national income. Whether a country is a developing country or a developed country can be better known by looking at the national income of any country. So it is a must, its measurement. And coming to the definition of national income, it is said that national income is the average fact. National income is the aggregate factor income. National income is the aggregate factor income which arises from the current production of goods and services by the nation's economy. In layman's language, you can say that national income is the value of goods and services produced in a country in 1 year. So, that is the common definition. Government of India, after independence, Government of India appointed National Income Committee on 4th August 1949. And the members of the committee were Professor P.C. Mahalanobis, Professor D.R. Gadgil and Professor V.K.R.V. Rao. They submitted their report after 5 years in 1954. They studied the condition of the economy because we had got the independence and there was a survey needed with regard to the national income and the performance of many sectors in the economy. So, the first National Income Committee's report was submitted in 1954. And the features of the report are, it is studied that during 1950-51, agriculture and allied activities constitute half of the GDP. They contribute more than 50% to the GDP. So, agriculture sector was dominant there in India. Now it has come down. There is another thing. Next, mining, manufacture and trading. These sectors constitute 1/6 of the GDP. Next, commerce, transport and communication constitute or they contribute to GDP 1/6 of the total income. Next, services contribute 1/3 to the GDP at that time, and the share of public sector in NDP or GDP you can say was 7.6%. So this was the scenario at that time in 1950. Trends in growth of India's national income. We will have the data here. The CSO, Central Statistical Organization, furnished national income estimates on current prices and constant price basis. Current prices shows the influence of two factors. Number one, increase in production of goods and services and rising prices. As rising prices and its influence on national income is there, so current national income on current prices basis will not give the correct picture. We calculate the national income, compare the national income on that basis, on constant prices generally. CSO has estimated the national income and per capita income on current and 2004 and 5 prices. See, the data is here. In 1951, the national income in crores at current prices was 9,464, and on 2004-5 prices, the national income at factors cost was 2,55,405 crores. In the same period, the per capita income at current prices was in rupees 264 rupees in 1990, and on 2004 and 5 prices, as per 2004 and 5 prices, the per capita income of India was 7,114 rupees at 2004 and 5 prices. Next, in 1990-91, the national income increased from 9,464 crores to 4,71,619 crores. And on 2004 and 5 prices, the national income increased from 2,55,405 crores to 12,02,305 crores. Next, the per capita income in rupees increased from 1951 to 1990 from 264 rupees to 5,621 rupees on current price basis, and as per 2004 and 5 prices, the per capita income increased from 7,114 rupees to 14,330 rupees. So it was doubled. Per capita income was doubled. Next, here also national income increased many times, 2,55,000 to 12,02,000. So there was an increase of approximately 6 times. Next, in 2002, 2001, in 2000 and 2001 year, the national income at current prices was 17,71,118 crores, and on 2004 and 5 prices, the national income was 20,80,565 crores. So it increased from 12 crores. It increased from 12 crores to 20 crores. In the same period, that means in 2000 and 2001, the per capita income at current prices was 17,381 rupees, and on the base of 2004 and 5 prices, the per capita income was 20,418 rupees. If you see, the per capita income increased from 5,621 to 17,381 on current prices basis, and on the base of 2004 and 5 prices, the per capita income increased from 14,000 to 20,000, 14,000 to 20,000 during the period 1990 to 2000. Next, in 2013 and 14, the national income on current price basis was 91,71,045 crores, and on 2004 and 5 prices, the national income was 49,20,183 crores, and the per capita income in the same year 2013 and 14 was on current price basis 74,380 rupees, and on 2004 and 5 prices it was 39,904 rupees. You can say there was an increase of more than there was an increase of both national income as well as per capita income for the said decade 2000 to 2013-14. For the 13 years, the national income as well as the per capita income increased. On the basis of 2004 and 5 prices, it was more than double. The increase was more than double. And here also, on 2004 and 5 prices, per capita income was doubled roughly. So there was an increase, there was development in India. There was increase in national income as well as per capita income. But the rising population was eating away the development. Hello friends, now we are analyzing the data with regard to the growth in national income as well as per capita income based on the prices of 2004 and 5, which is there in percentage form. This has been shown for the planning period from the first plan to 11th plan. During the first plan period from 1951 to 56, the growth in national income at factor cost was 4.2%, less than 5%, and the per capita income growth rate was 2.4%. And it was a beginning period after independence, so we do not have any experience. We did not have any experience at that time. And during the second plan period from 1956 to 61, the growth in national income at factor cost was 4.2%, remains the same, and the per capita income growth rate was 2.2% during the second plan period. During the third plan period from 1961 to 66, the growth rate of national income was only 2.6%. Only 2.6%, very meager. And the increase in the growth rate of per capita income was 0.3%, very less. Why? Because there was drought, severe drought during 1965 and 66. At the same time, there were skirmishes with Pakistan. So the battles at Pakistan at the front and the drought eat away the growth, and we do not have any finances to make an expenditure for the development of the country. And that was the early period when we had got independence. And so we had the annual plans. Instead of regular 5-year plans, we had 3 annual plans because of this lack of it. During the 3 plans from 1966 to 69, the growth rate of national income was only 3.7%, and the growth rate of per capita income was 1.3%. And during the fourth 5-year plan, the period from 1969 to 74, the growth rate of national income was 3.2%, and the growth rate of per capita income was only 0.9%, less than 1%. And during the 5th plan period from 1974 to 79, the growth rate of national income was 4.9%, and the growth rate of per capita income was 2.6%. See here, the increase in national income was less than 5% during the first 5-year plans. During the first 5-year plans means here first plan growth rate was 4.2, second plan 4.2, third plan 2.6, fourth plan 3.7, and fourth plan this is annual plan rate. Next fourth plan was 3.2 growth rate and fifth plan 4.9. During the plan periods up to fifth plan, from first plan to fifth plan, the growth rate was less than 5% because there are many factors. We do not had any experience of planning, number one. Number two, we had got independence and our economy was building up. The finances were less, so budgetary allotment was less. So also the growth rate was less. Number two. Number three, we had to develop in all the fields of the economy. We had to look after education, we had to look after the transport, communication, build up the transport and communication facilities. We had to build up an educational system. In all the aspects of the economy, in all the sectors of the economy, we had to develop and we had to spend more. That we do not have. So the growth rate was less. And number fourth and foremost are important factor to note is that there was high rate of growth of population during this period. The high rate of growth of population was eating away the development. So the per capita income when compared to the growth of national income was less. See here, the national income growth of national income was 4.2, whereas the growth in per capita income was only 2.4. Population was there. Population effect on per capita income was evident, because to get the per capita income we have to divide the national income with population. Population was increasing, so per capita income was less. And during the after fifth 5-year plans, there was a annual plan. During the period 1979 and 80, one annual plan was there, and during that annual plan, the national income growth rate was 5.9%, increase crossed the limit of 5%, and the net per capita income was 8.2%. Next, sixth plan. During the sixth plan period of 1980 and 85, the net national income at factor cost was the increase in net national product at factor cost, that is GDP, national income. National income increased by 5.4%. During the sixth plan period, during 1980 and 85, the growth rate in national income was 5.4%, and the increase in the per capita income was 3.1%. During the seventh plan, 1985 to 90, the growth rate in national income was 5.5%, and the per capita growth rate was 3.3%. And there were again two annual plans during the period 1990-92, and during these two annual plan period, the growth in national income was 2.8% and the growth in per capita income was 0.8%. And there were disturbances, so we had to take up the annual plans instead of regular 5-year plans. During the 8th plan period, from 1992 to 97, the growth rate in national income was 6.7% and the per capita growth rate was 4.6%. And during the 9th plan period, during 1997 to 2002, the growth rate was 7.5% in national income. Yes, increase a lot. and the per capita income growth rate was 3.6%. And during the 10th plan period from 2002 to 2007, the growth rate of national income was 7.8%. Yes, it was high. And during the same period, the per capita income growth rate was 5.9%. And during the 11th 5-year plan period, which has been mentioned in your book, the growth rate of national income was 7.8%, and during the same period, the growth rate of per capita income was 6.3%. Friends, now we are going to study the trends in sectoral distribution of national income, or the trends in the distribution of national income by industrial origin. See, the data has been given here, and we will discuss and analyze the data. Share of GDP by industry of origin, that means sectoral distribution. And this is the 1999-2000 series. Here, sectors have been mentioned, sectors and subsectors have been given. Distribution of the sectoral income in the GDP, in the national income, has been shown here. Number 1, important. This is the foremost thing in India because agriculture is the dominating sector. Agriculture is the dominating sector. Agriculture and allied activities constitute the primary sector in India. So, agriculture and allied services, the share of agriculture and allied services in the distribution of GDP is in 1950, 51, 54, 55.4%. That means half of the income in GDP was from agriculture sector. When the income of agriculture sector, share of income of the agriculture sector in GDP is high, it means that the economy is a developing economy and the country is a backward country wherein the population depends on agriculture. So, in 1950-51, the share of agriculture and allied activities in GDP was 55.4%. It decreased to 38% in 1980-81. It further decreased to 13.9% in 2013 and 14. That means what? Gradually, India is developing. The agrarian population is shifting from agriculture sector to industrial and service sector, which is a good sign, which shows that the country is gradually developing. Second one is industry. The contribution of industrial sector to the GDP is in 1950-51, the share of industrial sector in GDP was 15%, which increased to 24% in 1980-81. And in 2013 and 14, the share of industry further increased to 26.2%. Here, it is to be noted that industrial sector will expand to some extent only. There will not be the ever expanding history or story. There will not be any ever expanding story in industrial sector. To some extent, industrial sector will expand. Afterwards, it remains constant or it will be expanding, but the growth rate will be a meager one. The service sector will expand to the maximum level, and the people from the agriculture sector will shift to industrial sector to some extent because skills are needed there. Then service sector, which is a broader one. Next, in industrial sector, there are subsectors like mining, quarrying. Mining and quarrying constitute 1.4% of the GDP in 1950 and it increased to 2.0 in 1980-81 and it was the same 1.9 in 2013 and 14. So there was not a great change. It expanded from the contribution, the share of mining and quarrying was 1.4% in 1950 and it increased to 1.9% in 2013 and 14. And second subsector division was manufacturing sector. Manufacturing sector is the second division or subsector of industry. The share of manufacturing sector in GDP in 1950 was 8.9% only. It increased to 13.8% in 1980. It decreased to 14.9% in 2013 and 14. The decrease in the growth rate of manufacturing sector was the main important thing for the slow development of the economy of India. If manufacturing sector had contributed and developed rapidly, then India's economy would have made miracles. Next, electricity, gas and water supply. They constitute 0.3% of GDP. The share of this electricity, gas and water supply increased from 0.3% in 1950 to 1.6% in 1980-81. It increased further to 1.9% in 2013 and 14. Construction. Construction's contribution to the share of GDP was 4.4%. The share of construction to GDP in 1980 increased to 6.6% and it further increased to 7.4% in 2013 and 14. Yes, there was development all along, but the development was not so fast and rapid. Next, services. Services, the share of services in GDP in 1950-51 was 29.6%. This is an indicator of the economy. If the share of service sector is low, then it would be considered as a backward economy. India was a backward economy. It is still a developing economy. Why? Why? Because the share of service sector in the GDP is low. The service sector contribution to GDP in 1950 was 29.6%, which increased to 38% in 1980-81. It further increased to 59.9%, approximately 60% in 2013 and 14. Yes, it shows that India is developing. The subsections of service sector are the sectors like trade, transport and communication. The share of trade, transport and communication to the GDP in 1950-51 was 11.3%. It increased to 17.4% in 1980-81. It further increased to 26.4%. Next, finances. Finance, insurance and real estate and their contribution to the GDP in 1950-51 was 7.7%. It did not increase. In 1980, it was 7.5% only. It increased in 2013 and 14 to 20.6%. So, last one is community, social and personal services. Their share was 10.6% in 1950-51. It increased to 13.1% in 1980-81 and it slightly decreased in 2013-14 to 12.9%. So, if you go through the data, you will come to the conclusion that agriculture remains an important activity in India. However, it is slowly and gradually declining. The contribution of agriculture to India's GDP is slowly and gradually declining, which is a good sign. And second important analysis is industrialization has broadened the economy through new economic policy of 1991, and industrial sector also got a structural change. And number 3, transport, communication, energy, banking and insurance sectors expanded, got a boost. And fourth point is to be noted, expansion of infrastructural sector. The infrastructure sector got a boost by way of its expansion. So now we are going to study the share of public sector and private sector in the GDP in national income. It may be noted that Nehru, who was Prime Minister, was very much influenced by the development of Russia, and he was a socialist by nature. So he wants to, as he was the Prime Minister, first Prime Minister of India, he wants to give more importance to public sector rather than private sector. The Prime Minister of India and Government of India at that time was to increase the share of public sector, and this is evident by the categorization of industrial policy resolutions of 1948 and 56. Through these policies, the Government of India made clear that Government wants to keep all the key and basic industries in its control. In Industrial Policy Resolution 1948, it was made clear that Government wants to have all the major industries in its control. But having experience, it came to the conclusion and modified the objectives of the policy of Industrial Policy Resolution 1956. It considered, it means here Government of India considered that private participation is also important, as it had no finances, sufficient finances is not there. And so the socialistic pattern of society was there at that time. Mixed economy was adopted so that the economy may flourish with the help of both the public sector and the private sector. And during the earlier period, the public participation in the industrial development, or you can say public sector, was more. Gradually it decreased after 1990. After new economic policy of 1991, the government changed its policy and began to reduce the finances or investments from the public sector. A separate minister for disinvestment minister portfolio was created, and the investments began to be withdrawn slowly, gradually. And private sector was given a chance to develop. See here, a data has been given. The data, one must be noted that service motive was the government's objective. Public sector participation is needed with a motive to do service to the public, because benefit was not the motive and will not be the motive of the government. Whereas public sector wants to have personal initiative, ownership, management, and they want to get maximum benefits out of their business. Here, the data has been given in the form of a table showing the share of public sector and private sector in crores as well as percentage. Of course, the data is an old one, but to understand and have a glance and make the mind to compare how gradually the public sector decreased its share in GDP is evident. In 1950-51, the national income was in crores. National income in crores was 2,04,924 crores. National income in 1950-51 was, this was the early period after getting independence. In 1950-51, the national income was 2,04,924. Out of it, the share of public sector was 16,394. 16,964 crores only. Whereas the share of private sector was 1,88,530 crores. It was very huge. When coming to percentage will show us the clear picture, because the inflation may show the data in some other way. The share of public sector in GDP in the form of percent was 8 in 1950, whereas the share of private sector in GDP was 92%. And in 1970-71, the national income was 4,37,719 crores, and out of it, the public sector share was 61,281 crores, and the share of private sector was 3,76,438 crores. Coming to percentages, the share of public sector in GDP was 14%, and the share of private sector in GDP was 86%. It has come down gradually. In 20 years, from 1950 to 70, the share of public sector unit in GDP increased from 8 to 14%. As I told you, government wants to have all the basic industries and expand the public sector for the benefit of, for the service of the people. As government wants to establish the socialistic pattern of society at that time, not now. Government tells now that it is not the government to do business and withdrawing all the investments from private sector. Government is selling away the public sector units now. The objective has changed with the passage of time. And the share of public sector in GDP, private sector in GDP decreased from 92 to 86%. Private sector share has decreased from 92 to 86, whereas the share of public sector increased from 8 to 14%. Next, in 1990, after 20 years, the national income was 9,67,773 crores. Out of it, the share of public sector was 2,28,394 crores. coming to percentage, the share of public sector in GDP increased from 14% to 23%, 23.6%. Yes, increased. As I told you that the motive was different. And the share of private sector to GDP was 7,39,379 crores. If you say the group data, it would be as if it has increased. But look at the percentages. It gives you the real data, real picture. It has decreased. The share of private sector decreased from 86% to 76.4% in 1990. Up to this, that means from 1950 to 1991, the share of public sector increased in GDP and the share of private sector decreased in GDP. But afterwards, after the new economic policy of 1991, as I told you, the objective of the government of India changed, and there were no finances in the treasury. The exchequer was empty due to many reasons. So it decreased. The public sector got a decline, and the share of private sector began to increase. See, in 2000 and 2001, after new economic policy, the national income increased from 9 lakhs to 16,47,903 crores, and out of it 3,82,314 was the share of public sector in 2000, and whereas the share of private sector to GDP in GDP was 12,65,589 crores. In the form of percentages, the share of public sector in GDP decreased from 23.6% to 23.2%. Of course, slightly. But the road has begun to decline. Next, the share of private sector in GDP increased from 76.4% to 76.8%, 0.4%, of course, slightly, but it is increasing gradually. And in 2012 and 13 provisional estimates, the national income was 93,88,873 crores, and the share of public sector in the total national income outlay was 19,19,806 crores, whereas the share of private sector was 74,69,070 crores. And looking the percentages, the share of public sector in GDP decreased from 23.2% to 20.4%. About 3%. The share of public sector decreased during this period from 2000 to 2012, whereas the share of private sector increased from 76.8% to 79.6%. And still now the process is going on. What is the process? Withdrawing the investments from public sector, decreasing the share of public sector in national income, and increasing the share of private sector. Automatically it will be increasing the share of private sector in the GDP. So in future India is going to be a capitalist country. Hello students, now we are going to discuss the share of organized and unorganized sector in GDP. The share of organized and unorganized sectors in GDP. So first we will discuss what do you mean by organized sector and unorganized sector. Organized sector means all those firms which are registered and which comes under the purview of any act and who maintain the balance sheet and who accounts for the annual and who maintain the annual accounts are known as organized sector, or the firms come under the organized sector. The business which comes under the organized sector. And unorganized sector means all those firms which do not maintain the annual accounts, which do not maintain the balance sheets, and which are not registered, come under the unorganized sector. So these are the two sectors. And what is the share of the organized and unorganized sector in the GDP? We will discuss. See this organized sector, this is organized sector, and this section is of unorganized sector. And in 1980-81, the share of organized sector in the GDP was 30%, and it improved. It increased to 42.9% in 2007 and 8. So the share of organized sector increased for the period from 1980 to 2007, from 30% to 42.9%, say 43%. Whereas the share of unorganized sector for the same period that decreased from 70% to 57.1%. So the share of unorganized sector decreased, organized sector increased in GDP for the period from 1980 to 81, 1980, 81 to 2007 and 8. Next, the share of mining and manufacturing sectors for the same period increased in organized sector from 56.8% to 70.2%. The share of mining and manufacturing in organized sector increased for the period 1980 to 2007 from 56.8% to 70.2%. And in the unorganized sector, the share of mining and manufacturing increased for the same period from 30% to 42.9%. Here increase. So both are very well. So far as mining and manufacturing sector is concerned. Next, with regard to services, in the organized sector, the share of services to the GDP in 1980 was 40%. It increased to 46% in 2007. Whereas in unorganized sector, the share of service sector decreased from 70% to 57.1% during the same period 1980 to 2007. So here in the unorganized sector, the service sector or the services, the subdivision of service sector is not doing properly so far as unorganized sector is concerned. And one more lacuna is here, the deficiency with regard to collecting the data of unorganized sector with regard to the firms, unregistered firms is there. There are unregistered firm and businessmen who do not maintain the data in India, who do not have the balance sheets, who do not audit the annual accounts. So, how can you say that the unorganized sector is not faring well? Of course, for comparison's sake,